Hi, welcome to the Board Game Archives, or welcome back if this isn't your first time here. Now, we've posted 3 full-length videos and then a bunch of little YouTube shorts here and there so far on this channel, and every single video we comment something along the lines of, what would you like to see us play next? Something like that. And so we had hoped to drive community engagement, make y'all feel like you're part of the process, but we never really stopped to realize we haven't shown you what all we have to play. And so that is what the purpose of this video is. We want to show you each and every game we have so far. Today is November 3rd, 2024, so that'll be every game we have as of then. And so, hopefully you find a game that you may find interesting. Maybe you see a game that you've played before and you're like, oh yeah, I love that game. Maybe there's a game that you've seen, on shelves in a Target or whatnot. And you think, I'm kind of thinking of buying it, but I would like to learn a bit more about it before I spend my money on it. So our hope is that through seeing these games, you can make more proper decisions about if you want to buy them yourselves. Or, if you find a game that you want to see us play, you are free to chip in and say, I want you to play that specific game next. Now, 2 quick notes that I did want to start with. Number 1, we did actually get this video idea from another board game channel here on YouTube. They're called the Board Game Beans. They were very kind to us when we first started, and we love their content. They are very energetic, they're very kind and honest, and so we think that if you're part of this board game niche, if you enjoy what we put out, you would love them. And so I highly encourage you to reach out, subscribe, like their videos, because the content that they put out is incredible. And the second thing that we did want to mention before we begin, we're going to separate this video into different categories. So we're going to start with the games that we haven't opened yet, we haven't played. We are hoping that in the future we can learn them and then provide different gameplay videos, review videos, things of the nature to you. We're going to transition then to the card games, just so you have a little change of pace from the board games. And then finally, we're going to finish up the video with the board games that we know and love. Games that we can tell you a lot about, games that we can provide honest reviews of. So that way we can move from the relatively new to the relatively small, all the way to the big heavy hitters for this channel. And so, timestamps will be provided below if you want to skip to any certain category. And we hope you enjoy.
Let's start off with the newest game in our collection, Charcuterie. Fun fact about Alicia and I, the two of us love charcuterie boards. Just as if you were building a real charcuterie board, in this game you are tasked with building the best possible charcuterie board. You'll be competing against other players, and you'll have plenty of different ingredients at your disposal. Points can be earned on both presentation and ingredients. There are also challenge cards that you can complete for extra points. While we have not yet played Charcuterie, we're really looking forward to doing so in the near future. Minerva is a city-building game in ancient Greece. Each round, players can use both currency and resources like wheat and rocks to develop their city. And the city can be anything that you want it to be. You can place anything from temples and recreational areas to farmland and residential buildings. Points can be earned depending on how you develop your city, and whoever ends up with the most points wins the game. We look forward to presenting a deep dive into this game should y'all be interested. The Taverns of Tiefenthal is a medieval game where players manage their own tavern. Players are allowed to decorate and manage their tavern as they see fit. Players simply design their tavern, invite patrons, roll a set of dice for certain actions, and provide the best possible hospitality for their patrons. We personally love the concept of this game, and we really look forward to playing. Sansoucci is a game based around garden decor. In this game, players are tasked with redesigning a garden around Sansoucci Palace, and must incorporate things like statues, fountains, walkways, and pavilions. The best design is one that pleases both the king of Sansoucci Palace and various visiting nobles. Do you have what it takes to redesign the gardens of Sansoucci Palace? Let's switch gears a little bit with Command of Nature, a strategic deck building game. Players go head-to-head as the sages of 4 different tribes. The Leaf, the Pebble, the Droplet, and the Twig. Players can summon new members to their faction and level up their abilities. The last man standing becomes the commander of nature. It is no secret that we love Star Wars here at the Board Game Archives. In Star Wars the deck building game, players play either as the Galactic Empire or the Rebel Alliance. Players can recruit new characters to their respective sides, use the Force against one another, or target one another's bases. Extra cards of characters not associated with either side can be used to shift the balance of power within each game. Take control of your fate and decimate your opponent. Shifting gears yet again, we have Kronologic Paris 1920. Set in the Opéra Nationale de Paris, players embark on multiple mysteries of varying difficulties. Familiarize yourself with your location, choose your character, and select a mystery. With 15 different investigations to complete, there's plenty for you to do in this game. Let's take a little break from all the glitz and glamour of the other games and talk about the United States National Parks. In this game, players take turns exploring each of the United States national parks. Make sure before you hike that you have everything you need, like a canteen, hiking gear, and a camera. Then, head to the parks and enjoy your time. And finally for our new games is Shitenno, set in feudal Japan. The shogun is ready and willing to give out gifts to whoever takes control of the most provinces around Japan. And the only person who can get those favors is one of the 4 legendary Shitenno. The daimyo, the shomyo, the sensei, and the hatamoto. Play with tactics and with cunning to win the favor of the shogun. Let's rock on over to our card games, starting with District Noir. Players assume the role of 2 rival gang leaders who wish to take control of their district by forming a coalition with other gangs in their area. If either player is lucky enough to have all 3 city cards, they win automatically. Otherwise, flip a coin and keep playing until one player gets a majority coalition with the other gangs. On a personal note, this is a house favorite here at the Board Game Archive, so let us know if you want to see us play this. Next up is Ballot Battle, the second game we've ever reviewed here on this channel. Based on the game of Blackjack, Ballot Battle has 2 players going head-to-head to try and become the next US president. Each round, 4 different opportunities will present themselves. Players will go one at a time, trying to bet on which ones they want. For each opportunity, whoever gets closer to 21 without going over 21 gets the card. But watch out for controversy cards. While a few controversies can actually help you out, get to 9 overall and you lose automatically. Next up is another fan favorite of ours, One Night Werewolf. In One Night Werewolf, players are randomly assigned different villager roles, all of which come with a random ability. Your job is to find the werewolves in your village and kick them out. If either werewolf is voted out, then all the villagers win. However, if any villager is voted out, the werewolves win. So be smart, play your abilities well, and find the werewolves among your flock. Our second to last card game is Pickup, inspired by street basketball. Anywhere from 2 to 6 players will take the court and will battle against each other simultaneously. There are 2 important things to remember for your character: their offense and defense, and their shooting zones. To play, pick an opponent and roll some dice. If your dice match a shooting zone, your opponent is knocked out and you earn points depending on your offense minus their defense. Also play a second character at the same time for an additional benefit. The first player to reach 14 points wins the entire game. And finally, for our card games, is the fan favorite Five Nights at Freddy's board game. Based off the iconic horror franchise, this game simulates the first two video games. You're a night guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and your job is to make sure that killer animatronics do not get into your office under any circumstances. Each game starts at midnight. If an animatronic starts coming your way, flip a die, and subtract that amount of power from your overall power meter. Players who are able to survive until 6 AM, with the remaining power and no animatronics in their office, can stay for another night. Now for my favorite franchise, the Horrified board games, of which we have 3 copies. American Monsters, Greek Monsters, and World of Monsters. Let's start with Greek Monsters, the first board game we've ever purchased. 6 mythological creatures from Greek mythology have been released on a nondescript Greek town, and it is up to the players to send them back to Hades. As you battle these monsters, various townsfolk will appear. It is your job to escort them to safety while you fight. Each monster that you battle has a signature ability that they can use against you, adding to the complexity of the game. So gather your friends and fight back before all hell breaks loose. Now for Horrified World of Monsters. Because this game is part of the Horrified franchise, the gameplay is very similar to Greek Monsters. However, there are a few key differences that make this game arguably more complex. The monsters, for instance, come from various cultures and have much stronger abilities. Cthulhu, for example, has twice the amount of steps in order to defeat it than any other monster in the franchise. So straddle up, because this game is a true test of skill. And finally, the newest of the 3 for us, American Monsters. I would argue that the complexity of this game comes from its uniqueness. Because while the other monsters have steps to defeat them that are very similar to one another, this one is entirely new, so you can't really base your experience off the other games. The gameplay loop is similar though, so fans of the other Horrified games should come to like this one too. So grab your friends, gear up, and get ready to fight back against everything these American monsters have to throw at you. Like I said before, this is the newest Horrified game for us, so we really look forward to playing it soon. Now from horror to trains, in our second collection, the Ticket to Ride games. Let's start off with the North America version. Ticket to Ride has 2 to 5 players expanding their railroad network across the United States and Canada. Players can expand by claiming one of these multicolored routes from city to city. Players can claim a route by playing cards of the same color and number. So for instance, a route with 4 white tiles would need 4 white cards in order to claim. Points can be earned both by completing routes and by completing longer route cards. Whoever has the most points wins. Now for Ticket to Ride Europe. Gameplay is the exact same as the North America version, but with a few key differences in regards to routes. Firstly, if part of your route is taken, you can use a train station to piggyback off of someone else's route. Routes that go across water require certain specialty cards. And routes that go through mountains require this little gambling system that we'll explain further when we do our Ticket to Ride Europe full review. Ticket to Ride Heart of Africa is an interesting one, because route colors are grouped together based off the African landscape. Warm colors for deserts and savannas, cool colors for jungles and forests, and neutral colors for mountains and cliffs. Points can be doubled on any given route by using these specialty terrain cards. Again, bonus points are given by completing longer routes. As an expansion game, Heart of Africa really feels like it's in a league of its own. Let's close out the Ticket to Ride section with Asia and Legendary Asia. Ticket to Ride Asia is unique for two reasons. First of all, it introduces team play, and second of all, it is two-sided, Asia and Legendary Asia. The route system from Ticket to Ride Europe remains, but with players separated into teams of two, the game feels fresh and unique. While the Legendary Asia side has a lot of different cities throughout Asian history, the Asia section provides a lot more of a modern look at the continent. So players get to decide each round which map they'd rather play on. These are the Ticket to Ride games, a fan favorite here in the board game archives. Our third collection is of the most famous board game of all time, Monopoly. Although the original Monopoly is arguably the most famous board game of all time, we'll still give you a description of how it plays. Players traverse throughout a map and buy various properties using in-game currency. Once a player has enough money, they can buy houses and hotels to upgrade their properties. The last person standing wins the game. We also have Monopoly Texas Edition, which is the oldest board game that we own. Designed in 1998, this game is actually older than Alicia and I. The generic properties of the first game are substituted out for Texas-themed counterparts, as are the money, the houses and hotels, and the player models. We also have a Godzilla Monopoly, because why not? We get our love of Godzilla from my dad, who is the biggest Godzilla fan that I know, and so this is really his game more than anything. And just like with Texas Monopoly, everything in this game stays the same, it's just that the properties and the money and whatnot have been changed to fit the Godzilla theme. And taking a full 180 from Godzilla, we have Squishmallow Monopoly. We have a huge collection of Squishmallows in our bedroom. You may see a few stick out here and there in our other reviews, and you may have actually seen a few stick out in this video. And although the gameplay for all four of these Monopoly games are the same, we still love the fact that we can play around with the theme, have it fit different board game nights should we have them with our family. All in all, it just depends on how we feel. Civilization: A New Dawn is based off the famous video games by Sid Meier. This is the ultimate nation-building game, in which players can develop their nations, create diplomatic ties with other nations, and strive to achieve either military or economic dominance over others. With 8 historical nations to play as and hundreds of auxiliary pieces, no two playthroughs of Civilization: A New Dawn are the same. New York 1901 is a city-building game in, you guessed it, New York in 1901. Players take control of a few city blocks. Their goal is to develop these city blocks with the end goal of building skyscrapers. Points are awarded based on your development. So whoever can be the best real estate developer wins the game. So pick your character, find the city blocks you want to work with, and start developing. And now for our final game, Express Route. Express Route is a strategy game where players work together to try and meet the demands of the United States Postal Service. Using both futuristic technology and good old-fashioned instinct, players must work together to meet ever-increasing logistical demands so that everybody can have their packages happily. With 15 unique scenarios, there's always something to do.
And so, those are our games. Like I said, our collection is as of November 3rd, 2024, so it's bound to grow at some point. In the meantime, if there's a game that you want to learn more about, say you've seen it on shelves or on Amazon and you want to see a little bit more about it before you buy it, maybe there's a game that you've never heard of before that you feel interested by, please let us know. We would love to do a gameplay video, a review video, any video that you can think of. We're at a point where we want you to be part of the inner circle. We want you to be able to choose videos so that we can provide content for you. So if at all there's a video that you want us to make, comment down below and we would love to do it for you. In the meantime, we have been doing a final of the week lately. If you've watched all the way through our full-length videos, we've done the color and the shape, Foo Fetish for you. And I'm still working on how to do a goodbye because I don't know how to properly end our videos. So with that, Goodbye.